Hi there, I'm Michelle.
I'm Jim, and we are
A Teague of Your Own. Welcome to another Motivational Monday.
Let's get motivated.
Woo! Beautiful day.
Yes,
Gorgeous
nice day. Weather, temperature is nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Doesn't feel like summer. Feels more like late spring for a change.
Yeah, and considering, the couple weeks that we had of actual summer and heat and humidity.
Man.
Today is nice.
Yeah, it was like Mother Nature was trying to roll up our summer into 1 week. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Even though later this week we get back into the
we do.
Get back into the high 80s. Not quite as bad as that mid 90s stuff, but still warm. We're gonna get back to being warm.
Yeah. We had a fun week last week. Got to facilitate a retreat.
Yes.
For Mount Aloysius College, specifically the Institutional Advancement Department. Fun group.
Very fun. A lot of fun.
Yes, had great time.
Yes.
It was just that was all.
Good time was had by all.
Yeah. So if any of you need somebody to facilitate a retreat for you, facilitate a meeting for you, so that way everybody can participate, let us know. We can do that for you.
We got it all. We've got things set up. We've got multiple programs we can do, and we are ready to serve you.
Yep. Also, shout out to our good friend Dave Jones, whose daughter got married this past Saturday. Wedding cookie table extraordinaire. Have you seen the pictures?
No, I didn't see the pictures.
Oh my goodness. That wedding cookie table went on for miles. Dave, I know you watch this from time to time. Let us know how many dozen cookies, because I know it was many. And it wasn't just him who cooked, although he is a fantastic baker.
Right.
The root beer float cookies that he created specifically for the wedding because of his father looked fantastic. So yeah, we are talking because just a few days away from Independence Day.
Right.
And by the way, happy Canada Day to our friends to the north. We have several friends who are from Canada who live in Canada. Yep.
Yes, we do.
And so today is Canada Day. However, in just a few days, it will be 4th of July, which is Independence Day here in the United States. And I found a quote from William Faulkner I thought we could talk a little bit about in honor of Independence Day. And it is, we must be free, not because we claim freedom, but because we practice it. Good quote?
I think so.
Okay. So what do you think practicing freedom looks like?
It means actually engaging in the activities that you choose as a result of being free. Yeah, it's easy for us to say, because even in countries like the Soviet Union, they had a constitution. They said their people were free, and it's like, and they were as free as the government would let them be.
It's true.
And that's one of the things that we see happen in other countries. In Venezuela, they were free, and they freely elected a person. I'm going to say something, but I don't. You never know what's going to make people mad these days. They elected a guy who basically slowly but surely took their freedoms away. And unfortunately for them, they let it happen. We also saw it in other countries, especially during COVID, countries that used to be free.
Right.
And we saw their governments just lock down on them, even harder than ours did on us. Even with us, we still had some freedoms.
Well, it varied from state to state.
It did vary from state to state.
Because you look at like North Dakota.
And it also varied from what was going to be enforced. Yeah. And I know around here, not much was enforced. No. So
we're very fortunate. We live in Westmoreland County, although all you had to do was go to Allegheny County.
And that was a different story right there. Out this way,
not so much.
Yeah, not so much. It was casual.
Yeah, and even if you just went north to Latrobe, I mean, think about the Giant Eagle up there.
Yeah.
With their one-way aisles and I mean, we did not have that.
Yeah, even with that, there are a lot of people said,
No.
I'm not doing that. And that's partly because of the American spirit. We are very defiant. That's how we ended up being country. You had to defy England in order to become an independent country. So we are a defiant people.
We are.
It's in our DNA that we are going to do the things that we want to do for the most part. And we have a constitution that, with some restrictions, and actually the Constitution doesn't really restrict what the people do. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights is there to restrict what the government can do. A lot of people miss that.
Yeah.
A lot of people miss that. Those rights are our rights that aren't assigned to us by the government, and that the government is not supposed to be taking away.
No.
And being the defiant people that we are, we generally will make sure that the government adheres to those laws, even though they do skirt them.
Yeah.
They do push the envelope
Yes,
on a lot of them.
And even before the Constitution, you had the Declaration of Independence.
Yes.
And when Thomas Jefferson helped write the Declaration of Independence, part of what he wrote in there in the very beginning was that, we hold these truths self-evident, that our Creator gave us these rights, and those are, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
The pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
Not happiness.
Yeah.
The pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, there's no guarantee.
Too many people miss that point.
And so when it comes to freedom, when it comes to independence, when it comes to liberty, that's what you're looking at, is how do you practice that? What do you choose to do? And it needs to be intentional when it comes to the choices that you're making. What are you intentionally choosing to do to promote freedom within your life? And I think that's what this quote is about. Is, like I said, the quote is, we must be free not because we claim freedom, but because we practice it.
Right.
And when William Faulkner wrote that, I think it was because he wanted you to take action.
Yes.
And it's one thing to have something in writing. It's one thing to have a theory about something. It's another thing to actually take action and practice it.
Right.
And that's what I think this is all about, is how do you live a life of freedom? And how do you protect the freedom that you do have? And I think that's part of what we reflect on and celebrate throughout the year.
Right.
When you have days like Memorial Day, when you have days like Veterans Day, where you are taking a look at the people who fought for and currently fight for and have died for freedom and for independence and for liberty, and how they took action and how they made sure that those freedoms still stayed in place.
Right. And it's also a realization, like I was saying earlier, some people do not seem to get it, that our freedom doesn't mean that we are free from having another country telling us what to do and impacting us. It's freedom from, again, our own government. Because again, that's how we were founded, was we threw off the shackles of the government that oversaw the colonies at that time. And it had to be done, by blood, by blood, sweat, and tears. And, we're still in that same boat. This is one of the issues I think we have in this country, is we have a government that, overreaches and, basically they don't attempt to, they do take away people's freedoms, quite often based on false pretenses. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And that's something that we always have to be vigilant about, and, make sure that we don't let them do that. Because if we do, and it's a case of, now we got this whole generation that seems willing to give away their freedom, which is, to me, and, Ronald Reagan said, freedom is only one generation away from being lost. And it's something that we do have to practice. And not only practice, but we also have to, for lack of a better term, preach. Because, you know, the next generations, you know, they haven't seen the kinds of things that we have seen.
Right.
You know, we're old enough, for good or ill, to remember the Cold War. You know, I'm sure there's many of you that you remember the drills in case there was an attack, a nuclear attack. You know, crawling up under their desks at school and that kind of stuff. We didn't do that. No. But, you know, I know for me, having grown up military and spent many years living over in West Germany and in Greece, we were always under the threat of that sort of attack.
Yeah.
We knew that. We knew that, as they said, if the balloon went up, then that meant it had started. Our Cold War had turned into a hot war, because it's always what we heard, you know, need to be prepared in case the Soviets came through the Fulda Gap.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they did, that would be the initial act of aggression, and it would be on. And we knew at that time that we would have to scramble to get out. We knew that my father would be going one way and we would be going in a different direction, trying to get out of there. And we lived with that threat hanging over. I mean, I lived with that threat hanging over my head most of my childhood. And we knew that it was necessary to maintain freedom. And in that case, it was freedom from another country. But like I said, I think at this point, it's more fearful of freedom from our own government, just because they have so many mechanisms that they can go after people.
Well, it was also freedom for other countries.
It was also freedom for other countries.
Well,
you're right.
Yeah. The reason why we had military bases over there in Europe was to protect not only us, but to protect Western Europe.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't just our freedom that was at stake. It was a lot of other people's. And that's what you're seeing now. We still have bases over there, and I don't think we necessarily need them at this point. But I think you need some, because that way you have a forward unit that makes it a lot easier in case something does happen. But when you look at what Russia did to the Ukraine by invading them, that's one of the reasons why we were over there to begin with, was to stop them from invading other countries. And it worked in Germany.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. In fact, when the wall came down, basically that was a bloodless surrender.
Yep. Which is interesting, because you were talking about how, our country was founded and started by us pushing back against England. And, there was war involved in all of that. And if you look at the history that England had with all of their colonies, it went from like you said, war and a lot of bloodshed, a lot of people dying, to peaceful turnovers. And because I think they realized it's not worth it. It's going to happen. And do we necessarily want a lot of people to die when we know this is going to happen?
Well, that's because they realize that when you start fighting people in their own country, even though the colonies were not a country at that point, the people defending tend to fight really hard. Whereas the attackers sometimes not quite as much. And it's because there's not as much on the line for the soldiers doing the attacking. Whereas when you're defending your home, well, you're defending everything. You're defending your world. That's what the United States has learned. Painful lesson with some activities, let's call them, in other countries. And I know that's not a strong enough word, but again, have to be careful. But when we have had these excursions, these adventures in other countries, in most cases, there have been a few exceptions, but in most cases, the people there fight back, and they fight back hard. and they're willing to fight to the end, and that makes it difficult.
Yeah. And one of the ways to practice freedom is to defend the freedom that you have.
Yes.
And that's part of it.
And again, that means, showing your voice at the ballot box. It means, making yourself heard on the editorial pages, by getting involved in groups and organizations that also enjoy the benefits of freedom and are willing to, fight hard for them because they have seen them eroded over the years. And now it feels like we're getting a bit of a pendulum shift. And, we're starting to see some of those freedoms come back. But there's still a lot of work to do.
Well, and with July 4th, just a few days away, and many communities are going to have parades. I encourage you to go to those parades and celebrate and support the people who are in them, who are there to practice their freedoms. You're going to have a lot of military groups. You'll have a lot of police officers. You'll have a lot of fire departments. You'll have a lot of veterans groups who will be marching in Independence Day parades. Go and support them. Go and tell them thank you for what they do to help protect the freedoms that we have, and to practice the freedom of your choices, and to be able to still go out there and freely talk about what your beliefs are, and to be able to freely express yourself, and to have the freedoms that you do have.
Yeah, because we have to fight for that, because if we don't, it will go away. And when it does, some people who seem to advocate for watching our rights disappear and abdicating them to the government, they seem to be happy when they talk about it, but they fail to study history and realize that once those freedoms are gone, they're generally gone forever until you have an overthrow. And once they're gone, and all of a sudden you then see what is truly going to be done to you, they're the first ones to be surprised, which always amazes me.
At that point, it's too late.
I take Venezuela as the example. That all these people, they were so happy about, thinking how this is going to go. Oh, this is going to be wonderful. We're going to have all this shared wealth. It's going to be fantastic. And once things got rolling, they were the first ones to be absolutely thoroughly surprised about what happened. And that wasn't what they expected.
Yeah, you need to be careful what you wish for.
You have to be careful what you wish for. And that means fight for that freedom. We have to do that every day. We have to be aware that it can go away so quickly if we are not vigilant and stand up and fight for those rights.
Yep. All right. So, like I said, hope that you have a wonderful Independence Day. Get out there, especially if the weather is nice where you're going to be. I don't think we're supposed to have rain that day.
On the 4th? Yeah. No, I think we're going to have rain the day before. I think, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. The forecasts haven't been all that accurate lately.
But get out there, celebrate Independence Day, celebrate your freedoms. If you are, we talked earlier, if you are an organization who wants to do some type of team building exercise, if you're an organization that wants to get together, host a meeting, but have somebody come in to run the meeting for you, so that way everybody can participate. We are more than happy to do that for you. Reach out to us. How could they reach out to us?
Oh, there's a lot of ways they could reach out to us. They could call us.
Okay.
There's our phone number, 412-420-7975. If you don't want to talk to us on the phone, and I don't know why you wouldn't, we're fun. And we can exchange a lot of information in a hurry. But if you don't like doing that, text us. we'll see the texts. You can email us, info@ateagueofyourown.com.
Yep.
You can go to our website, ateagueofyourown.com. You can go to our social media. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel. And you can go there and watch all of these videos. And please go there and like and subscribe for all of these. Like us and subscribe to YouTube if you would. You don't have to watch the videos, but it gives you access to them. And at some point, we're going to start adding other things in there. Yeah. We just haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, we're going to start doing that, where we're going to add maybe some mini lessons and mini courses and that kind of stuff.
Fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool beans. All right. Well, have a happy Independence Day, and we will see you next week. Bye. Everyone.